as we can possibly be, maybe.
Recording in one moment here.
I mean, I actually got dressed up today, so, well, just the
I know
upper
I was a little more dressed up last week, but
Oh,
you told us to be more human, so.
Well, we're actually showing our apartments now, our homes, versus Ryan, who's, hidden behind the Conrad
you don't want to see where I am.
anonymity. What's the word?
I don't want
Anonymity?
to see where I am.
Anonymity?
And Eminem, yeah,
Anonymity?
yes.
Yes, anonymity or whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
and it's not etymonymy by any means.
Edamame is so good.
I love it. I just bought a 4-pack. Those things.
Of
I just love
edamame?
them. Yeah.
I feel like I've
Okay,
had more
so-
Amazon deliveries.
That, we got this.
I love Diane's blue shirt. Very cop-like.
I know.
It's the only thing I have that's clean.
See, that's funny too. The funny part is that you have clothes that are dirty. I have like pajamas.
And
I
we are
haven't worn my
on Facebook.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
So that's very exciting. But yeah, so I actually don't have many clothes because most of my clothes have been workout clothes or pajamas. So I miss my wardrobe.
So Ryan, are you gonna? I don't know, like if questions come in or anything from the Facebook side. I don't.
Yeah, in fact, I'm gonna monitor a little bit here. Give me just one moment. Carry on with another conversation, if you would. Let me
Okay.
get up here.
I think we're just gonna wait a
Fantastic.
few moments to let
Yes.
people hop on, and jump in. I think
All day with meetings and stuff like that. Got a charger.
no, it's been one of those things. So yeah, how's everyone doing today?
Yeah. Thank you for signing on.
I don't even know what day today is. Wednesday, yeah.
It's Wednesday.
I did have to check on that. It is Wednesday.
I know it's so strange, because I'm like, now the garbage is more full than it usually is, and then who comes when or what's going on, and Saturday is just like any other day anymore.
Life is
Used
hard.
to get excited for drinks on Friday. Now it's Monday through Friday. I'm just kidding, but
I bet you're having a lot of fun because you're in Nashville and the weather's not like us. We had snow this morning.
in
And
Knoxville.
about an hour later, it was sunny out, so I was outside on our balcony in shorts, just hanging out. And then Paul's like, I think it's supposed to get really cold in a few minutes. And like 20 minutes later, I was like, oh, birds.
It was 46 today. You're in shorts at 46 degrees? Good.
I didn't feel, it didn't feel like that after the snowstorm.
It's chilly in Knoxville here, I think. It's been really nice, and then all of a sudden, it's cold again. So next week on Wednesday, I will be outside. I promise.
Oh yeah, last time you
During
were
our
during
our
jealous.
call,
All right, so
right?
I'm monitoring our Facebook feed here. I have,
Ryan, you want to introduce yourself to the world?
yeah, sure.
Can
So
start it off.
I am Ryan Atkins. I am a co-creator, and I guess you could say one of the producers. Not my main focus, though. I am on set the director of photography for the project, and I started the project from a wee little script, and it's kind of blossomed to what it is today. So, Jen?
Sure. So I'm Jennifer, and I'm Kate Conrad on certain days, and other days I'm producer, and co-creator and writer, and co-director with Kelly. So Kelly can share who she is.
I'm Kelly Tidmore, and sorry we're repeating ourselves if you've logged on last week, but I am one of the executive producers and co-director, and we have the lovely Diane. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, I'm so excited to have you on here.
Hey, how are you guys? I have there's a lag in my computer. I apologize. I don't know if I'm freezing or if you guys are freezing. Hi, my name's Diane Sintich. I play Commander Marshall. I can't wait to see what's going to happen to Commander, because I think she might have something to hide too.
Ooh,
I don't know what's happening with her. Can't wait to see what happens with her, but I'm having a blast so far.
Fantastic. So I guess we can just get started. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ryan, you've got everything geared up. So Diane, being that you are our special guest this week, because it's going to kind of intermingle with Jen, being that she has some scenes with you and that. And so first we'll start off with, how did you hear about Conrad?
Well, the first thing I heard about was through my agent, and she said send a tape, and that's Leone.
Oh, hi, buddy.
Aww.
Aww.
I love these Zoom calls. We get the realness.
Like random.
Yeah.
But I was super excited about it. I remember waiting outside. I was looking at, I think it was at Actors Equity with other actresses who looked like me, and I was like, what is this thing? And yeah, it was great. I went in and I did exactly what I did on my tape. It went really well. Obviously, you asked me. And it was my first time back on set after years, because I was in the opera world a very long time. So it was.
I heard you were going to sing for all of us tonight.
I would love that. Oh, yes, you have to now.
No.
But you know, I'm surprised that you just said that you hadn't been in for a while. I would have never known that.
Well, thank you. No, I mean, I was doing a ton of classes, obviously, to like, I've been on stage. I was on stage the entire time, but I wasn't on camera, which is a different animal, as you know. So it wasn't like I was coming from like the land of finance and like, oh, I want to be an actor, you know. So it was like I was on stage. But yeah, it was great. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Your role though, to just jump. I mean, you really did just jump right in, because your role is a very strong female lead. Right. So how does that feel, being that we've, you know, our initiative has been to really promote and highlight, you know, kind of the female empowerment, female producer, female director thing. But how does it feel to play that strong female lead? Because you're very strong. You have a very strong character.
It's, I think it's about time that we have as many ladies. Poor Ryan. What's it like, Ryan? On all these ladies. It's an honor, and I am so grateful that I can essentially just play myself.
Oh, that's fun. So you get some real Diane in it. Yeah,
it's not that much of a stretch, guys.
But it was great, because even being on set with you, like I felt like you had that. You're very empowered. You had a very strong personality, and you know, you're just very confident in everything you did. And for someone who's been on stage, I would say you did a phenomenal job transitioning, because I have a lot of people ask me, and I've had the question actually just pop up. They asked, you know, how do you transition from being on theater and being big and wide all the way to the back screen, you know, the last chair in the audience, to being on camera and being subtle, you know, and making that transition, because you did a phenomenal job with subtleties.
Thank you. Well, you just pay attention. I mean, we've all watched lots of movies throughout our entire lives, and we see that no one is moving. I mean, we're not going to take an acting class on this Facebook Live, but you know, just lots of class, lots of experience, and I don't know. I mean, I like to say, people ask me in Chicago where I'm from, which I find hilarious because I'm from here. But I lived in New York for 10 years and grew up, really, like, became an adult in New York by myself for a long time. And the experience that I had there shaped me forever. So, I mean, like, this whole terminology of like badass, I find funny, because it's just like, I think it's just what happens to a woman after she's eaten enough garbage.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. But I think you're so strong. Like, I want to say that even in the scene with you and Jennifer, there's a specific scene. It's almost like those two kind of dominant females. It's allowable in this room. You know, that you
say that again. I'm
consume.
sorry. I was flagging.
Both of your acting abilities, being the dominant females in the room, it really played well with the two of you, because I think you have the ability. Yeah, you will. But
okay. Like, I would love more to see how, like, this dance, like Katie's character and the commander they have the shorthand with each other, so you can tell that there's a lot of history. But yeah, no, I think we share it well, don't you think, Jen?
I do actually. One of my favorite scenes that really kind of, I think, emphasizes that there is definitely kind of, Kate trying to rise and have that strength that she sees in you. Kind of that motherly figure because of the mother that she doesn't have. We all know that
Right.
mom isn't there, but in the scene when she literally is leaving to go find her father and she's like, racing out and they're like, Kate, stop. And you hold her back and she gives you this look of like, let me go. And
Yeah.
I need to
That's
use
my favorite. Yeah.
And it's so powerful because it's this, they always talk about the Bechdel test, but even besides that, two women wanting two different things and how, we together kind of play off of each other. And I think it's a very powerful thing. And I definitely want to expand on that in the future of the series because I think it's very important for us to understand the dynamic and what you do in her life. And then even with Molly, which is played by Mia Tallarico, and how Kate's kind of motherly in Molly's eyes, and Kate looks at you as a mother in her eyes. And there's a big dynamic, and I think people will really be able to relate to that, especially
For sure.
evolve that character and development, because there's so much to Commander Sandra Marshall. I mean, even in the name, right? Commander Marshall, like, woohoo, like, starting up, like, button up, like.
It's a subtle intensity. It's like you are very bold. You're quietly bold. You don't need to yell your presence is very known and stated in the room. So it's, you do very, very well with the edginess. It's just, you're tough. And I think, Serge put on here about badass. And I think you are a badass. So on and off the screen, you're awesome. But so, Jen too. I mean, I think we have some really strong characters in Conrad, and I think I'm excited to see even the development past the pilot with the content that's already been written as to where this goes. So it's exciting.
For sure.
But
One thing go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Because one thing that I've noticed with Conrad, and I think we just got really lucky with who you guys have cast, is there's so much happening on TV when it comes to like cop shows and these specific type of dramas with the women, that they're kind of pitching them to be almost like men or yes. It's adorable. Where it's like they have these women like jumping on the perpetrator, and it's like they're 5'2" and the perpetrator is like 6 feet tall, and they're just trying to be like tough and mean, and that's great. That's wonderful. I don't know how real that is, but I like that with Conrad, we're not trying to be men. We're just we're just being who we are without being like you said, Kelly, like instead of like
extreme. Yeah.
I'm so tough and I'm gonna, when it's just like, just be quiet and make them come to you, and it's the camera work as well. Like you guys are great. Where I mean, we just walk in and la la la.
If I may, I think we can all tell when an actor is just really trying to act. They should not be acting. They should just be being that character. And I think when you can carry the cadence of that confidence, and I think one of the first individuals that showed just this natural confidence and just, I can do a man's work and I will be as influential as a male would be you, Diane. And you don't really try anything. You just kind of do. You have the warmest heart that I know of a lot of individuals, but when it comes time to getting down to brass tacks, it's definitely there. There's no acting really involved. Now, do you have to memorize lines? Of course you do. But the character, I think for many of our actors, the character just comes with what they bring to the table anyway. They don't have to go to the store to get more of it. It's just there.
Right.
So.
Well, and one thing, I think that's really, like, even for other up-and-coming actresses and actors or whomever, I think one of the things that, really resonates with you is just this air of confidence that you have no matter what happens. I remember when we were doing the conference room scene, the debrief scene, and countless times, but even with you kind of memorizing those lines, there was no drop in your energy. There was no drop in how much you put into it. It was a constant I don't know the freaking line or whatever, but even the way you'd say that, it was Commander Marshall. I mean, you were always in character. You were always aware of who you are. You talk about the 12 guideposts, or you talk about, kind of building who you are, what's your moment before, all of that as an actor, you have it. You know it.
But you owned the room. I think you
100%.
really owned the
100%.
room. And it's just, I think the stigmata too is for, women are so expected to be emotional and kind of a wreck. I
Right.
think it's just the persona of how we're supposed to be when we're not. I mean, we're very strong people. And I think that it's great that we're giving the opportunity and setting the platform to kind of have that viewed in the scenes. I'm looking at the scene in my head and I don't want to give anything away. So, but as far as like getting into character, you just talked about living in New York, being from Chicago, and the garbage, to be able, but I think that's with everyone too.
Sure.
You take what you've learned and then you apply it. But I think too, it takes a sense of, I guess, an air, and that's what you have. And I think you did, Jen, I think you did feed off of her a lot, which was fantastic, and maybe vice versa. But I think that I got to see, even in one day, how Jen's strength was even brought up in the room by your presence and your acting, and your ability to be able to do what you did in that debrief. So I thought it was really cool.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I wanted to tell the scene and I can't. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to dance around it a little bit.
We're gonna show it.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we're not giving too much away by sharing, this itty bitty.
Right. It's another scene.
I don't even know what you're referring to. I don't even, is there a scene that I thought got cut?
Are you referring to the scene where Comanda's standing at the podium? Is that what you're referring to?
That one, but I was going to tell about the other one, but I'm not sure if that one. No, I don't think that. No, I think that one was cut.
The interrogation. You can call it the interrogation.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
So bad.
There was that great scene of the very first time at the morgue that we no longer have.
Oh, that scene was incredible.
That was a great, beautiful moment to show like both sides of both characters of their super
vulnerabilities.
That's when I was really taking care of you. There's such a beautiful, beautiful scene. It's
I think those will probably surface somewhere at some point.
Well, and it's so hard in the editing room, and it has nothing to do with the actors. It might be the way that the scene was led or the scene was.
No, I know. I know.
And
I'm saying it's sad
that scene took me 2 hours. Okay, can we talk about the fact that she's talking about someone passing away, and there was a very intimate moment between Kate and Commander Marshall, because Commander Marshall brought her to the morgue, and Kate, Jenny was in a private office. We filmed that scene in an office, and we made it look like a morgue. This is the original pilot. So we have the pre-pilot before we renovated the show. But I spent 2 hours getting into character. And I mean, I was going through family pictures. It was so hard and emotional. I remember they wouldn't let me see the set. And the first time I walked on the set was the first time I saw the set. And it was just, let the camera roll and let's just see what happens. And I broke. And it was the most magical, like, that authentic scene between Kate and Commander Marshall was like something I've never.
It was gorgeous. I still have the stills. It was so.
Oh my God.
Oh well, it'll be in the outtakes.
Yeah, we'll have to share some of those posts, even though it was a white wall. But yeah, it was, and there are going to be more scenes like that, and that's exactly just it. Is I think a lot of what was a learned lesson for me as a writer. Is kind of the overall arc of the show and developing it in time versus putting it all in one episode, because there's so much beauty in the connection between these characters and their histories and their pasts, and there's so much to tell that it was hard
but the
for me
development
to hold back
too.
and just wait.
Jen, you did a great job of character development.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love these characters, and it's funny because even their names, like they're all my little, like, the babies, right? But I think that's kind of one of the things that I'm very excited about, and like the big difference with film and TV. I mean, it's such a vast difference because in film, it's just a regurgitation of the whole thing. Go ahead and, you know, put it all on paper and you have it there from beginning, middle, end. But like with TV, you've got your A story, you know, your A story closes, but your B1 opens, it never closes. Your C story opens and it doesn't close till the season finale. I mean, there's so many twists and turns, especially in a procedural. And there's so much story I want to tell, and I'm excited to be able to expand that because Commander Marshall has a lot of interesting storylines. There's a whole episode on Commander Marshall.
Really?
And your upbringing, like we see you as a child and what happened to you.
Oh man.
Well, let me tell you, there's enough content for probably, you know,
so
10
bad.
seasons.
Oh,
I mean, you know,
That woman is so angry.
so it's really interesting as to what's going to manifest from this, and I'm excited to see it play out. So as far as like working on the Conrad set, what was your favorite experience? As far as, was it, I mean, the people you're working with,
That day,
favorite?
I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, there's so much mutual respect on set. Like there was no mucking around. Like we all knew what we were there for. Like everyone, who was it? Shonda Rhimes who said you don't work with a-holes essentially. And it's nice to know that when you're going to be on set, you're going to be surrounded by people who are lovely, you know, who are lovely and happy, and everybody wants to be there, and the food is good, and
good sense of humor.
Yeah,
that's important.
Is good, the energy is good. You don't want to be surrounded by people who are going to bring you down, you know. So it was it was great knowing that when you're going to get on set, you were going to be surrounded by professionals. You're going to have a good time at the same time as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, favorite day probably was when we had that beautiful moment in the morgue. Really, like I had such a great day.
It was amazing.
It was so like, I remember it was a long day, but it was good. Like I finally came together, and like people were, you know, when you know you did a good job, like, you know, that like you were like, it just clicked, like everything clicked. So yeah, I think that was my favorite day. I don't know, I have a lot of favorite days.
So what was your next favorite day?
Next favorite day? I love the day when the new morgue scene, like when we were at the funeral home with the little Italian guy who ends up knowing like everybody in my family.
Oh my. You know what's crazy? He had never, I mean, he's an amazing actor. And we're all like
he has to be still all the time surrounded by the dead.
By the way, we need to do a shout out for Joe Russo, because I know he's dealing with a lot through all of this right now.
Oh.
So Joe, if you're on or listening, thank you. We appreciate you.
Seriously.
Love you dearly.
Thanks.
But so as far as working with female directors, and your exposure with that, what did you feel was it? What?
You're my first.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
Wow.
Yay. Yeah. That's awesome.
And how did that feel? It felt great. It felt like being at home, you know? It did. It felt like being at home. It felt like, because you know, and you're super strong too, PS. So the level of there was immediate. Like I knew exactly, you can feel when somebody has strong boundaries, is not messing around and knows what they're doing. And like, it was great. It was great. Going like,
I really appreciate that. By the way, I was not fishing for that, you know.
No, I know. No, I know.
I just didn't, I honestly, you know, thought because you're so great that we were, you know, in a line there, and I didn't know what your, you know, how your experience was or what have you, but I truly appreciate that. You are fantastic to work with, as well as Jen. We've had some great times too, because we're, you know, and that's just the thing, when you're working with people, you need to have a sense of zen on set. There's a sense of professionalism, but you also have to have fun. You have to make it comfortable. You have to make it a platform of collaborative creativity amongst everyone involved. I don't care if they're, you know.
Can you expand on how you were able to direct and kind of like, you know, with, you know, the different personalities? I mean, and working, you know, with fellow female actresses and fellow producers. I mean, how was that for you compared to what you do on a daily basis and working with men and other people in the industry?
Yeah, I'm in a very male-dominated industry. In my position in my company, I'm the only female that does what I do. And I've done that for years, but you have to almost apply the same kind of directive. It is, you know, I know I'm very detailed, but I think the film side makes me that way too in the creativity, right? I'm a very process driven, mechanical type of thinker, but it's very direct and to the point. And, you know, we're against time, you know, when we're shooting. And
Josh doesn't
so
sound.
right. So it's
Sorry.
a matter of being respectful, yet, you know, that's why I always say in the beginning, hey, look, I may not always say thank you at that very moment. I'll try to say please as much as I can, but just know that I'm grateful and I appreciate everyone. And I think that's my mantra has always been that whoever is involved, I want to take them to the end. I want to take them, you know, and help them with other projects or refer them or whatever. I always want to do something as much bigger than I am. And if I can help people to develop and grow, and even if it's, that's why I love taking on people that just want to learn. People go, God, I have such an interest. You can't teach passion.
Right.
You
No.
can't
No.
teach care. You can go to school all you want to, but if you don't give a crap about what you're doing, you're not going to make any money on it. And people are not going to want to work with you either. If you're
No.
not nice, humble, being humble is a very critical aspect of it. But I think just being direct and having clarity and having transparency, you know, I don't want people to guess what I'm thinking. I mean, Ryan and I, sometimes, I mean, we're cutting Dumb and Dumber jokes, or we have such a dry sense of humor that, you know, but that's what gets you through. And we're like kids, we're like siblings. We could be screaming at each other one moment and the next moment we're going, I love you, or sharing a hotel room. You know what I mean? So it's about coming together as a team. And I think that's what we've done is we've built a great Conrad team with a cast such as you, Diane, and Jen. And it's just, it's been a really amazing experience working with the people, everyone that's touched the project. So yeah.
Nice.
Anybody, let's see. I appreciate you though. That makes me, you made my night.
So we do have a
Wow.
scene to share at some point. So
Yes, can we do that?
yeah, I
Do
can.
it. Who wants to see
hopefully
Diane in action as Commander?
Let's show this badass off.
Hopefully this will work out better than it did last time. I think a little bit of humble.
Wait, someone's dancing. Wait, we've got a new star.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to say
Look at
hi?
him. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
I love
You
it.
know what? Jimmy
You know what?
Fallon does shows from his house, and his kids give him heck. You know.
He's actually wanting his mom to sing.
So.
I think she should definitely sing before we get finished with this thing.
Maybe on set next time. How about on set? On set next time I will.
Oh my God, you guys, we should
Oh,
go
this
back to
weekend.
camera. It's my favorite.
Right?
Okay, let's watch
Whenever
the
you
scene.
guys are ready, I have a scene to
All
show.
right.
Hopefully,
Okay.
Action.
Let's see this.
all things considered, it goes well. So we do this,
See what this is.
that, and here we go.
Let's see the scene.
Let me get ready. Bombers.
Looks like we have another child molester off the streets, and we have another detective on our hands. Kate, there are going to be several positions open in the detective unit with meritorious promotion. We're going to look at the points you missed on the exam and put you on a trial period. You'll start as detective under Bowden, 30-day trial. We'll review from there and see about expediting your exam schedule. Need you to rest up before tonight. Tomorrow, I need to report back at 0600.
Thank you.
Good work.
Good God.
There's that.
I love it, and it worked. Great job, Ryan.
Did it. There we go.
IT was on it tonight.
You know what we needed to do? We needed to bring out that little the scene where she comes out to get you and you guys, the chick that's smacking gum. It's hilarious. I mean, it didn't make it, you know, because we just kind of did it
I
out
can't
of fun,
remember that.
remember? God, that was so funny. We did have fun, you know.
There's a lot of great scenes that you're in, Diane. But here's the problem, guys. And I know someone was like, "There's got to be more of Diane." I just saw that message. So there is more of Diane. There's plenty. We can't ruin the story. You see what I mean?
There's the question actually. More there could be for Diane.
What was that? I'm sorry, I was frozen.
Sure, we have a question from our editor actually. He says, Diane, taking all walls down, what would be a role you would love to play? Your dream role?
Like state what? I don't know, Lady Macbeth.
Okay, why?
Because you get to act well. Because Macbeth should have been called Lady Macbeth for all of you Shakespeare heads out there. Calmo, amore. Stai calmo.
Oh, and she speaks Italian, guys.
Mhm.
Or anything you don't.
Yes, but it's Lady Macbeth because it's, well, first of all, operatically, if I ever go back to that, Lady Macbeth again, because it's probably the most well-written, most beautifully, you see every single side of her. Like she's been pregnant and lost every child. The last child she had was stillborn. I think this is from the text exactly. And then like her husband comes back from war and they haven't seen each other in so long. So there's all this like this beautiful, sensual tenderness, like good sex scene that they'll do together as well. And then she's like, go kill Duncan. So there's all this like, do as I say. So there's all this like crazy power stuff too. And then she goes crazy. So then you get to act crazy too, because there's all this carnage of everyone that they've killed. Amore, sto parlando. Basta. And
Now you have to subtitle what's being
I was
said.
gonna say you need to sing some from Lady Macbeth if you have any, if you know anything from that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Lady Macbeth. You get to
Right.
you get to show soft, dark, crazy, broken, tyrannical, super ambitious, nuts. Like that would be the dream role. And they're redoing it with Frances McDormand and Denzel Washington.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
Because of the COVID. Hopefully they will continue. It's been done a billion times. Like, have you guys seen Fassbender's Macbeth?
Oh my God,
No.
I'm worst.
Macbeth? Oh,
All I know is you never want to say
Now I have
Macbeth
to.
3 times in a theater.
you don't want to say it. You don't want to say it. You just like, yeah, you just spin around 3 times and spit like a Sicilian to make sure it gets you undo the hex. But that one was the first one that comes to mind, really. The only thing that comes to mind.
So Christy wants you to say something in Italian for us that has to do with your lines. Hey, yeah, let's hear it.
I'm sure we have. I would be willing to bet we have some people that speak Italian on here. You know.
All right,
Let's see.
rolling.
Katie.
I'm sorry, I'm
C'è
supposed
una
to.
promozione per te, Katie, sulla posizione di comandante per te nella posizione della polizia di Hillside. Tu comincerai fra 2 settimane. I think I just said you're going to start in 2 weeks at Hillside as the
That's hot.
brother.
You know.
Yeah, that's
You
great. I think
led
I need
me.
to. I need
Yeah,
to. write
you
a
led
script
me to
in Italian.
something though. You know what is interesting about Conrad? I will say it is an extremely diverse cast and crew.
Oh, yeah.
We have so many different people from all over the world.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what I really enjoy about it is the cultural differences, the languages, you know, it's just amazing.
So are
You learn a lot.
So you got to help everyone understand. Are you Italian? Where were you born? What's your story? Where are you from?
I'm frozen.
Oh no.
Frozen. Okay, tell me.
So obviously you know all this Italian and you're pretty fluente. So tell us where you're from. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the southwest suburbs of Chi-Town, and then left when I was 25. I went to New York until I was 35, and then I lived in Rome for about 5 years off and on, and then I lived in Santa Cruz, California for 5 years, and then came to Chicago.
Diane,
That's awesome.
there's a question from James Mount on Facebook. He says, have you been to Sleep No More?
Have I been to Sleep No More? I've not.
Is that I don't know if that's a play. I'm not very familiar with
Sleep
it.
No More. Is that a Shakespeare thing, I think?
It might be. James Mount is an actor, so he might be trying to talk the same
He's
language.
in New York. So
Yeah.
James Brown is also, he was in Homeland. He was a badass in Homeland.
Yes.
He worked with Claire Danes directly.
Yeah, a little bit on the blacklist, but he, I guess, Sleep No More that's a show, if that's a play. Not sure, but he wants to know if you've ever been to that.
I've not.
Okay.
Let's go. Where is it? Is it? It's probably not on.
Means if you ever need,
Let's go now.
love to have it.
That's so cool. So let's get into some nitty gritty. Obviously, you know, we kind of want to know. Tell us a little bit about. I mean, you were once acting on Law and Order. Weren't you on Law and Order like a long time ago?
I was in Criminal Intent. That was my first job. Huh?
Yeah. Tell us about the evolution of Diane.
Okay, well, let's see. It was always Shakespeare. When I went to New York, New York was interesting because unlike Chicago, which is very open and friendly and everyone is going to tell you what they're doing and where they're holding class and stuff like that, New York, you have to really dig. If you want to be an actor in New York, you really need to do everything on your own and find out who's doing what, where, and who the best coaches are. And people aren't just going to tell you. So I ended up getting my agent through Gail. No, I had my agent through a voiceover thing, and then I was waiting tables at a beautiful Spanish tapas restaurant called Casa Mono, and Gail Keller was at like table 1. Gail Keller used to do a lot of the casting for Criminal Intent, and now the last thing big thing, I'm not in touch with her, but the last thing I know, she did cast the big what's it called, The Big Sleep, one in Chicago with what is her name, with I think he's a Pakistani guy, the Uber driver that falls in love with the Caucasian girl, really funny, The Big Sick.
Okay.
The Big Sick. Anyway, I waited on her, and it was like my section was insane. Like I had everybody sitting at once, and it was crazy. And this woman was there, and she's like, "Are you an actor? You have a really great voice." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, "What do you want to drink?" I'm like, "Do you want wine? Do you want whatever?" I could. It was all business. And she's like, "I'm casting this role for Criminal Intent." I'm like, "Yeah, sure you are. I'll be back." And I like went, got them their wine. And they're like, "No, really, you know, who's your agent?" I'm like, "I'm with Heartache." And they're like, "Oh, well, I'm like, "Okay, sure you are." I was like, whatever. Like people like to talk a lot. So I had no idea that any of it was going to come to fruition. And then the next day, my agent calls me and says, "Why is Gail Keller calling me directly about you?" And I was like, "Oh, what?"
Wow.
So that's how that happened. And it was one line. It was fine. It was one line, but it was one line in an episode with Chris Penn before he died, and of course Vincent D'Onofrio, and like it was and Arabe, like she's awesome. It was a well-oiled machine. It was wonderful. And yeah, Chris Penn couldn't be nicer. He was so sweet and kind and just a really gentle guy. And it's so sad that he passed away. But evolution-wise, I was always doing Shakespeare in New York. I was getting cast in a lot of Shakespeare stuff. And then I was in this really great scene study class called Studio Dante, which was run by Michael Imperioli and his wife had this small theater in it's 26th between right south of Hell's Kitchen. And you couldn't get in unless you had a TV credit. So once I got my TV credit, I was like, "Let me in!" And you had to audition to get in. So my teachers were Michael Imperioli, Vincent Curatola, who played Johnny Sack in The Sopranos, Sharon Angela, who played Rosalie April, and Nick Sandow, who's been in everything. Like if you look him up on IMDb, and they were all amazing teachers. And they essentially, I like to say, they broke our emotional back because you had to come in every week with a new scene prepared.
Wow.
And if you were not off book, and if you effed up, you were gone. And there was no bullshit. And I remember this is a great story. This woman came in, and I mean, New York is the hub of the fashion industry right outside of Manhattan. So you'd get these beautiful gazelles who also wanted to act. and they got passed somehow. I don't know how they got through, but they did, like through the audition process, and they got in. And not that this particular woman could not act. Okay, there are plenty of beautiful gazelles who are, you know, like Charlize Theron was an amazing actress, obviously. So anyway, this particular woman could not act, and she comes in and she flubs her lines, and like every beautiful woman who, like, she was ethereal beautiful, this woman, and all you hear is Vince Curatola in the back with like the thickest beautiful Italian New Jersey accent saying, "Do you know what the production costs are on The Sopranos?" And she's like, "I didn't know." It's like $100,000 a week. Do you think David Chase gives a shit that you forgot your lines? You'll be replaced like that. She cried. We never saw her again.
Wow.
Well, see, you have
So-
to be tough.
Wow.
So that's what
Now I
scene
get where you
study
get your
is.
tough as nails. You were like prepped, girl. I mean, this is not like, I mean, even
There's
telling
no
us-
time there. That's why, like, I love Chicago, and I love the process that we have in Chicago, but and not that fear is the best way to make somebody a good actor, but
Right.
if I was going to F up in my scene study class, I was let go. So you make sure you're ready.
Got it.
You're gonna be replaced. Boom.
So Diane,
What-
related to this,
That's what I was just going to go into
yeah.
about the advice you would give to other actors. Yeah.
What's attractive? What's more attractive to you, stage or screen?
Well, what I learned from Conrad is they're both completely separate animals. They don't even belong together. They don't belong together. They are two completely on the opposite sides of the world. It's like, I mean, being able to work a camera and being very much aware of what's your best side, where you should be looking, how loud you should be speaking, the slight moves in your face will get picked up like that. It's a completely different animal. Like, I love them both. Like, I'm new to television. I'm just learning. Like, I'm so glad that we had as much shots that the minute shoots that we had with Conrad, because I learned an unbelievable amount of stuff you can't pick up in a class. You know, like it's a completely different
Like
thing. I don't know. They're both. I love them both. I think the moving parts of TV. I like the chaos, like the controlled chaos of it. And I mean, I don't know. I love them both. But they both come from the same world of, you better be ready,
Right.
ready to go.
I
Fully
will say
fleshed out. Huh?
I've noticed with you know, looking at casting people and that, and so you have a lot of people that try and come over to the film TV side from theater. It doesn't always work.
No.
And you know, it's very rarely you see it in the opposite direction, going from TV film over to theater. Usually people start there. So I will say that you've broken that, you know, which is great, because sometimes I'm going, oh my God, it's over. You know, it's overdone, it's over dramatic. But I will say though, because I also come a little bit from the theater side in my younger days, and you don't get a do-over. You can't reshoot something. And you have so much rehearsal for such a short amount of time that you're on the stage for your performance. So it's a lot of work invested, but you have to get it right, you know, especially if you're working in the opera, you know. And it's kind of nice because we do have some of our actors have also done theater, but I'm telling you, it's when you're going through that casting process, you can, unless you have really refined your craft of acting, you can see it quickly. Yeah. And that's, I didn't see any theater in your acting. So seriously, that's not a bad thing, because I love theater too. But like you said, that's what I'm talking about with it being completely two different worlds. I mean, even the acting is so different. But the theater acting can't really go over into unless you're doing something completely.
It's interesting because Harry Lennox does a lot of theater and Shakespearean pieces. And you know, I think it helps with his voice and dictation and how he communicates, just kind of that confidence, because yeah, it's exactly what you're describing. There are no do-overs on stage. They teach you that if your partner forgets the line, just keep going. You know, it's you know, I grew up doing theater, and that's a lot of what I had done before I got into TV. And you know, you're trained to, you know, really you know, come into this being, but also be comfortable with not depending. I mean, in TV, you're depending on reading off of the other person. Well, in theater, you're trained so much to do it a certain way by the director or the stage manager, however it's done. You know, it's kind of like Diane doesn't say her line, then I'm just going to say my next line. We just keep going because you don't want to stop.
If I might just jump in, just as someone who was trying to help, not help, but to execute the scene. And I was involved with very early auditions with the cast. For some actors, when they first get to set and you've never met them before, you can kind of tell, oh Lord, they think they're on a theater stage. Look at her go, oh, here we go, where are the earmuffs? And some people, they're just very one-dimensional. You just can't raise your voice. They don't do it. I had never heard of your name before, Diane, because I was not really a television watcher. And I'm like, well, this lady hasn't done really much of anything that I can tell. Okay, but and then your whole time on set, you knew what you were there for. You were not on a theater in front of thousands of people. You were in front of a camera, which is in front of potentially more people, but just one little device. And I felt that you, honestly, your performances kind of blew me away. And also when you said that you also do theater, I'm like, wow, she stays busy and she knows how to separate that audience. For me, I used to play on stages for jazz and marching band, and we had to do solos. It was terrible. I have social anxiety, stage fright, all those bad things that people in live performance should not have. And if they do have them, you're in the wrong area. And I quickly learned that. And I realized that Diane was a perfect fit for that role because she came in knowing, okay, I'm not on a theater set, I'm in television, or basically I'm on a film set. Whatever film, television doesn't matter. You knew where you were. You knew you had a cadence. You didn't over broadcast anything. You weren't just this loud, obnoxious actor. Just get her done. Oh my God. It was none of that. I've seen some of those people. You just
Stop talking about my friends like that.
Right. No, but I mean, it does differentiate and actors. I think that when you can separate the two and become, you know, two different types of dynamics, it's so completely different. It's vastly different. So just like Harry, I mean, I would never, if you see him on the show on the Blacklist or in Conrad, you would never know he does theater. So I think that's what differentiates people from their level of acting, and you totally pull it off.
You wouldn't. It doesn't even sound like.
You know, that is a question. We have a couple of questions for you, Diane, that came through. Joe asked, has Diane performed at Chicago Shakespeare at Navy Pier?
No, but Diane
really
I took a really great workshop with Bob Mason. So I look forward to working with him in the future. That all happened in January. So I don't know. They haven't even they haven't announced their season yet. But I'd love to. Absolutely.
Well, maybe this will get that for you. So there's another. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm an ensemble member. I'm a member of a theater company, and we just did Raised on the Sun before COVID hit, but we're doing Hamlet. I'm playing Gertrude in Hamlet this fall.
Oh my God, let us know about it.
You have to let us know so that we can
sure.
pump it out there. And I'll even come up there for your show.
Yeah, it's going to be hot.
I'm
Sing
excited.
For me. Sing.
So no, that's at the tail end of the show, because we definitely are going to push for you to do that, because I heard you had an amazing voice. So Diane, another question from Serge, who's our editor, by the way. He is amazing.
Oh my God!
But
edited our whole
no joke.
Serge,
amazing.
we love you.
We love you. So did you ever do voiceover for video games? He said you have an amazing voice for it.
Very sweet. I'm trying. I got in touch with, God, what are their names? 6 months ago. The game that is not being released because of this COVID. The Last of Us. I got in touch with the people who produced The Last of Us because I saw that
Oh,
way. But no, I haven't. I do a lot of corporate stuff. I do a lot of narration for audible.com, but thank you. That would be great. Yeah, I'd love to do that, of course.
That would be
that's
that'd be
awesome.
so cool. Do you do voiceover? Are you do you currently have like a voiceover reel?
Yeah, no, that's what I've been. Luckily, that's I could because I have a studio in the basement, so that's what I do all the time. Like I'm constantly pumping out books for audible.com. That's what I do.
Awesome.
That's great.
What kind of books? Like what? So you'll have to tell. Now you have to tell.
We need to promote you too in your other areas there. So we need to
We've
know
got,
a little bit more. Where can people go? Do you have a website that they can go to seek you out for services?
My website needs to be updated, but I think it's DianeSintichSoprano.com, I believe.
Let's post that if we can. Can we post that on the Conrad?
I trained as an opera singer for like a decade.
Okay,
longer.
good. So
that's
it's 10 minutes until this is over, Diane. So hopefully you'll grace us with the presence of your voice, your lovely voice. And it doesn't even have to be something big. We're COVID crazy right now. I need to get some.
I don't even give it COVID. I call her stupid Rona.
It's DianeSintichSoprano.com.
That could be it. If you Google Diane Sintich Soprano, it'll all come up.
You know, all 72 people are going to your site right now.
Yeah,
Great.
Right. Everybody's going to go on there. So
if you go to InvictusTheater.com, you'll see me doing a Shakespeare monologue.
Just opened up Pandora's box.
Yeah, you did. We're all gonna. Now I want to see that too. You know.
I'm gonna be like Googling Diane all night and be like, check.
I already thought you were awesome, so now I'm gonna be like, oh, she is a badass. Dang it! I know I've got to
Serge has a bunch of friends. Serge has a bunch of friends that do like Riot games and stuff, so he's gonna promote you.
Great. Get in touch with me, Serge. I think we're together on Instagram, so let's.
Okay, if any of you guys don't know who Serge is, Serge Martin-Taco, he is fantastic. He took our
talent.
Show. Oh my God. Like, how did we we put up a post on one of those sites and he reached out and we had people do like an audition sort of thing with their, like a screen test that Ryan set up. We're not shutting up. You're fantastic.
We're not shutting up,
Serge.
Serge.
To know that. He's embarrassed.
He's like stealthful too. Like he'll be in a room and he looks like something from a movie anyway, the Vikings or something, a show.
He's like Game of Thrones style.
Have I met
He is like he is. So, but his talent is just supreme. So if you ever need any editing work, I'm pumping you out there, Serge.
Yeah. So the premiere was crazy.
He's actually
this last one, right? The reboot?
Yes.
Yeah. How many people came? We had like, I don't know. I mean, it was all industry cast crew and like industry folks. Unfortunately, we didn't do a public screening because we can't per SAG. We had to keep it, but and for the potential of the show to make sure that the networks are the first to see it. But we did have a good group of people. A lot of people were able to bring family and things like that. It was a great turnout. It was fantastic.
So it's funny, Serge didn't want us to steal Diane's Zoom with him. Don't be so shy. So Diane, I think just a hint of some singing. You have so many talents. People say, what don't you do? I'm like, whatever I want. I think she's got some underoos. I've got like a whole set of underoos in my closet.
We have a lot of
Helps give me some power. Come on, Diane.
I'm going to close the door.
Okay. Awesome.
Guaranteeing nothing.
You just need to fix the light so we can see her face.
Presenting.
Wow. I don't know what I have. I don't know what's in there. I don't know what's hiding in there. And I'm singing while sitting, so that's how serious I'm taking this.
Diaphragm.
It's okay.
There we go. I'm done.
No, that's awesome.
That hurt my teeth.
Anything, just a little of something. Anything, Ave Maria, anything.
Italian. I feel like you're opera. Like you're like, oh, man. I don't know, whatever. Do what you do.
Done.
Oh my gosh, woman.
Oh, I forgot I was on mute. Look at my arms.
I know. See, there's such talent. I mean, it's amazing.
That's
Can you
little
guys hear
Wagner.
me?
Yeah.
That was awesome. So hopefully we'll be able to, where can we see, can we hear, do you have a link that we can listen to some of your music?
I haven't done any singing, Kelly, since my son was born. So it's
Well, now you just did.
now.
You're such
No,
a
I don't know
girl.
if you know this. You just sang in front of the writer. So when I have my writer's room I'm building, literally I'm working with some writers and we're building our room. I will be making sure that commander has some history with singing.
Yeah, right.
God.
I mean,
you know what?
seriously,
Well,
in all seriousness, there's so many different, I'm just excited even to get to know you more, even as a person, but to see more of your acting and just to see you rise, because your talent goes so much more beyond, it's just who you are. The layers of who you are as a person, I think, is intriguing. So I think it's cool.
Stop
And
flattering
what makes me, but seriously, what makes me feel really good about this is having people like you and others a part of this project. It's just really cool, and makes me want to work even harder and harder and getting this picked up. And I just appreciate everything that you've brought to the project.
I'm so grateful. Thank you for finding me, for having me.
we love you. Do you have any advice you want to give to anyone out there who is, trying to really get out there and make a difference in their acting world or in their
Know your lines.
Right? Yeah, she was
myself
very
the same.
she was
I'll give myself the
very,
same advice.
direct about that. And follow Conrad so we can get some 10,000 likes.
yes.
I think
We're trying to hit that.
Wait,
We're going to release something.
away from 10,000 followers.
We're
It's
how many?
unbelievable. 32.
Oh my God.
And
Come on.
That'll be easy.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
we gotta
no,
get
guys,
that.
we're at 10,015 right now.
Oh, whoa,
That's great.
yeah.
Is my phone lying?
We are at 10,000 followers.
That's
You guys,
great.
so we have to do something exciting for everyone. We're gonna do.
And thank you everyone for signing on tonight. We're going to be doing this on Wednesdays. We have some special guests next week as well. And hopefully, Diane, we'll have you back on again.
I would love to be back again.
Yeah, we'd love
Singing
to.
again.
No, you did a fantastic job. So
Non voglio cantare più, basta.
Yeah.
Yes, I have no idea what you just said, but yes. I think Harry Lennox is going to be coming on in a couple weeks, so everyone should stay tuned for that. And Kelly and I will be doing a director's cut version. I think Ryan and Serge are going to be talking on post production and the life and the world of.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a lot of exciting things coming. So stay tuned. We're happy that everyone popped on. And Diane,
I know. Thank you.
It was a great turnout.
We're grateful.
We
appreciate it.
COVID's done. You have a hug coming from me. So,
Yay!
Yeah.
I would love
Absolutely.
We all need hugs.
You guys are like you like my family. Like I love you guys.
I'll take care of you.
We love you too. Yeah, we need to all, everybody stay safe, wash your hands, don't leave.
Yeah.
Wash your
don't
damn
go insane
hands,
either.
people.
Watching this, this webinar is being recorded, so it'll be, if not posted on YouTube, but also Facebook. So you can also do a rewind of the live chat and see the actual comment.
Well, you know what you guys can do is rewind and keep listening to Diane singing.
You can.
Oh, God.
Walt, we love you too. And Walt just said, love you all. We love you too. And we can't wait to have you on here as well.
Here we go.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful night.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye, Diane.
Ciao
Thank you,
tutti.
Diane.
Bye, beautiful, beautiful.
Buona notte. Buona notte.
Buona notte. Buona notte.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.